Welcome to VOLIBEAR Explained. I'm going to talk about Riftmaker, a widely controversial topic, AP Volibear, as I explained in my Nashor video. Be sure to check that out. I'm going to explain the issues with AP Volibear as well as how to play it, and I'm going to share how I use the Riftmaker. Riftmaker, how it works on the Volibear is it scales with his passive and his E. So his passive, the more AP you feed it, the more attack speed you're going to get. His E scales off AP and health. Riftmaker has 300 health and AP. I'm going to show you how it works with his kit. Auto attack. See the passive stacking? And then you get the magic damage. Okay? I'm going to explain this to you even better. Auto attack. Stacking the passive. You get the magic damage, lightning chain. Alright. Now with Riftmaker, passive, void corruption. For each second in combat with enemy champions, deal 3% bonus damage, max 9%. At maximum strength, the bonus damage is dealt true damage instead. Okay? So when your passive is stacked, that's when you're dealing that extra damage, that bonus damage, and true damage. As you can see, there will be a little animation effect showing you that the Riftmaker is active, the Void Corruption passive. So if you look down here above the abilities, you will see that icon appear. That's when you're dealing the bonus damage. See? So it's active during your passive. So you're dealing that bonus damage on hit. So that's how that works. And now I'm going to just talk about his Q and W. His passive runs through Q and W because they are attacks. Okay? So that's how his passive works. It works off his auto attacks plus Q and W. Now Q and W are physical damage. Okay? So you're getting that combination of magic and physical. So you're dealing damage up front to the target with Q and W and with the magic damage. Okay, now his ult, he gains 200, 400, 600 health. Okay, and the Riftmaker has health, so that's really good for the Volibear. So when he ults, he gains an extra health, allowing him to survive fights more and deal damage. Now, one thing with AP Volibear to understand is his ult has AP scalings as well as AD scaling. So a percentage of that is being dealt, but it's converted to physical damage. So no matter how much AP you're feeding it, it's going to convert to physical damage. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, now I'm going to talk about omnivamp. What omnivamp does is heals the Volibear based off whatever damage he is dealing. So it's either AD or AP. You can heal off that the amount of damage that you're dealing. So with the Volibear's passive going through Q and W, he's going to heal in a combination with his auto attacks and abilities. So with the E shield, the shield's going to block damage, allowing the Volibear to heal more during that time. So that's how that works. So I'm going to do a combo and show you the healing. So the more auto attacks that you land, the more healing that you're going to have. So as I already mentioned, that the more AP you feed his passive, the more attack speed that you're going to have. So that's how Riftmaker works on the Volibear. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the issues with using AP Volibear. Most of his early game is spent using AP items, which depend on maximizing his attack speed to make use of the omnivamp heals. So he lacks tankiness and health. So usually with the Riftmaker, you're going to build Nashors to get the maximum attack speed and heal off the auto attacks and the combination of his abilities. So for that reason, most of the early to mid game, you're squishy, so you can't afford to group up in team fights. You can't afford to fight 1 versus 5. Okay, so with AP Volibear, you got to understand that, and you got to pick them off. You're better off playing this playstyle as a duelist, where you're 1 versus 1, because with the Volibear, he has one of the highest attack speeds in the game because of his passive. So when you run like Nashors, it's a huge power spike, but how you use it um, is very important. Okay, so you gotta be able to pick them off and use your Q and E combo. The Q and E combo is the best way to engage your target, and you're gonna get the best uses out of it because the passive stacks about the same time as your E land. So this combination of magic damage is where you're gonna get the most damage out of it. If you miss the E, that's where you gotta question yourself whether you can continue. Um, With the AP build, you lack the utility. You don't have Frostfire, you don't have Chem Tank, so you don't have the ability to stick to your target. So it's on hit dependent. And because Riftmaker's Void Corruption depends on that on hit damage to deal that extra 2 damage to your target, you need that ability to stick to them. That's why the Q and E combo is so important. So if you miss your E, you might want to back off and wait for it to come back. This is why with the AP Volibear, your abilities are dependent because you need this combo. And right now, if you look, the cooldown on this is 13. It's pretty high. Okay, so is Q. It's pretty high. The W is the shortest. All right, get that burst of damage. It's rewarding when you land it. But the issues is most people that you're fighting have a lot of tenacity, and Q is not that long of a stun time. Okay, And in tenacity, you can easily shake that off. Alright, so when you land that E, which is delayed, they can easily walk out of it. And if you're playing against a champion that has dash, you know, they can just dash right out of there after shaking off that stun. So that's one of the issues there. And another issue is with AP Volibear is you're kind of squishy. So if you're taking a lot of poke damage and you need to heal off the minions, you can't because he won't let you, and he's constantly poking you. Your only ability to attack them is using your ranged ability, like this. It's predictable because of the animation. So the best way to go about that is to use your Q and then your E, because they can't see the animation. So you're more likely to land that. And another way is to go into a bush and cast your E. They won't see you, so they don't know when to predict the area that the E is going to land. Okay, so that's how you got to utilize the E when you're not able to heal using the omnivamp off the minions. So that's another issue there. Another issue is because when you're running a full AP build, you're not dealing as much upfront damage with the Q and W. So you're missing out on all of that upfront damage that you can deal to a single target. And heal off your second W. So most of your damage is coming from the E. Alright, so when you miss the E, that's where things can go south for you, especially when you're fighting 1 versus 5 or more than one opponent. So landing E is very critical because let's say you, let me explain this even better. Okay, so let's go. We got an enemy right here, enemy over here.
They have lost their wild. I will
and you're focused on the single target, so you're picking one off with your combo, which is what you want to do. All right. So we pick this guy off. Boom! You did that burst of damage. You're killing this guy, right? He's dead probably. All right. But since you have a long cooldown on your abilities, that combo that you need to land to fight more enemies, these two are going to kill you. Okay, you cannot fight this. You have to back off and wait for this. That's why ability haste is so important with the AP build. Alright? And then you can go back in and fight. And kill that type. Alright? But you gotta do a lot of kiting. You gotta wait for your Q and E combo. So that's the big issue with AP Volibear. It requires ability haste. Which is something that you can do over the course of game, and it can be really good. So you just have to be mindful of that your combo is dependent on the Q and E. Okay? So you got to know when to back off and when to go in. So that's how you play AP Volibear in terms of how you use your combos in fights. Alright, now I'm going to explain how I use Riftmaker with the upfront damage, as you guys already know that I've talked about in my Titanic video, as well as a little bit of that in my Nashor video. Now, how I use this is I'm abusing the Q and W combination with the passive, plus the delayed damage with the E. Okay? Now the passive and E comes at the same time. So when you do your upfront damage to a single target, and then on top of all of the AoE damage that you have with Titanic Shockwave, which is another AoE damage, you're dealing all that damage not just to a single target, but to multiple enemies nearby as well. So I'm going to show you the combo.
You cannot tame lightning.
Sorry about that. Okay, you got the passive and Titanic working together. You're getting all that omnivamp heals off those auto attacks. See how much stronger that is in healing compared to just Riftmaker by itself? Okay? Because that's something you got to understand with attack damage, dealing 124 there, right? Plus the AP that he has. So omnivamp works that way, and how much damage you're dealing is you're going to heal off that percentage, okay? And with Titanic, the more health you feed it, the more damage you're going to get over the course of a game, the more auto attack damage you're going to apply, as well as your QW combination, okay? And the fact that your ult scales with AP and AD, no matter what, you're going to deal with the physical damage. Okay, so with Titanic scaling with HP, your ult, you gain 200, 400, 600 over the course of the game. So if you think about 600 health later in the game, that's really good for Titanic, because during that time, you're going to deal more damage with your autos. Okay, so the more damage you're dealing, the more you're going to heal off that omnivamp. Alright, in combination with the magic damage on hit. So that's a lot of AoE damage in a combination. That's why it works so well, and this is how I use the Riftmaker using the Titanic. Okay, now I'm going to explain how I use the Riftmaker in combat, whether it's laning or in team fights. The omnivamp I purely use for sustain. So when I'm in a 1 versus 1 top lane matchup, I'm using it to sustain off the minions, okay? And the reason being is because omnivamp is only 33% effective with the AoE damage. So with your passive, you're only healing very little with the 33%. Now you all know that the healing was quite a bit, but the reason why it was quite a bit, it was because per auto. Okay, that's why it works so well. You're getting more healing that way per auto. So the more attack speed you get, the more you're going to heal off it and get the benefits of that 33%. So that's why I utilize it for sustain and then go back in with a full combo. Now with the physical damage AP combination, as you can see, you can deal quite a bit of damage and heal off that percentage. So to a single target, you're actually healing more than you are with your AoE. Okay? So that's how omnivamp works. So the percentage of damage that you're dealing to the target, you're going to heal for that amount. All right, so when you deal in a combination of QW, which is fairly quick, so it's like boom, boom, and then E lands, boom, and then you got your R, and that's quite a bit. And then your passive per auto. So to a single target, that's quite a bit. And then that 33% around you is just a little bit extra. So that's why it works. It's not bad. It works good for that reason. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're 1 versus 5, for example. Okay? Um, the reason why it's difficult to heal is because it's only 33% effectiveness. So when you get stunned or CC'd, it stops you from auto attacking. So you're not able to heal as much. Okay? And another thing is if your target that you're attacking to deal the most, to heal the most off of is kiting you. And as you know, this build doesn't have any utility. So you can't heal off that target because it's kiting you. And you're getting CC'd. This is where the AP build is very vulnerable. It depends on the Q and E combination too much to get the maximum heal off of it and survive with the E shield. So this is why I use Riftmaker for sustain purposes, healing off the minions and then going back into the fight. So using it for sustain purposes, what it does is when you sit on a Leech and Leer as your first item, for example, it gives you 5% on vamp, alright? So that's pretty good early on. And this is going to allow you to sustain in lane longer so that you don't have to go back and be able to farm and get the gold for the items that you need. So that's one of the benefits of Riftmaker, is when you're in the side lane, you know, pushing these waves and collecting all this gold and keeping that pressure, you don't have to go back because you can heal off your auto attacks. So that's one of the great thing about this that a lot of people have to realize is they don't need to use this for the OP healing off of off of this. Instead, you should have the mindset of using this for sustain and trying to get yourself ahead in items because of the fact that you have this advantage. So take Garen for example. With his passive, he can regenerate. Okay, so if you add the Dwayne Shield with Garen, you can literally sustain the entire time in the early game and not have to go back. Okay, so with Garen with no mana and all this regeneration, he can literally stay in the lane and just go back and buy his first item right off the bat. So it's kind of like that in a sense is how you should treat Riftmaker. It's just use it off the minions to sustain and stay its lane as long as you possibly can. So that's how I treat it with that. Alright, now I'm going to show you how I can solo Baron with the Riftmaker, Titanic, Hullbreaker, and Nashor. So you can solo Baron because you're dealing so much auto attack on hit damage with Titanic and Nashor. And you're tanky because of Hullbreaker. You got the armor and magic resist. And you got all the omnivamp. When I'm low on health, you're going to heal more with your W, the lower your health is. And there you have it. So this is something that you can do during the time of Dragon. Just moments before, so like, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds before. So you can like clear the vision and you know, make sure that nobody's seeing you and you can do it, you know. Alright, now I'm going to show you the Riftmaker with the Hullbreaker and Baron buff combination. You're going to deal a lot of damage to towers. Nashor's and the bonus AP that you get from the Riftmaker and your runes, plus the Baron. Baron gives increased damage and AP. So you're going to feed Nashor that bonus on his magic damage, which is going to deal a lot of damage to your targets. And just quickly plow a lane. And not to mention with R, it scales with both AP and AD. So right now you're all like 1,200 or something. Yeah, that's a lot of damage going on to a tower. So this is how I play the Riftmaker Volibear. See all that damage? You demolish in combination. So yeah, this is how I play Riftmaker Volibear. So if you learned a thing or two, you know, comment below on what you would like to see next, and I will do a video.